Hi everyone, it's Simon here from Sterling Coaching, and I wasn't going to record a Monday's Moment video because I'm currently in Italy and we have been in Florence for a few days, and what I decided to do was to come over to Pisa, which is where we fly from, so that we could get on a plane and just spend the day nearer to the airport because there's a national train strike. So I just thought I'd record this whilst we're at the famous Leaning Tower of Pisa, and I will record the rest of the Monday's Moment video when I return. See you tomorrow, as it will be. Bye for now. So as you can see, I'm now back in my familiar surroundings, out of the red hot sunshine. It was 32 degrees when we were in Pisa and Florence the other day, and I want to just talk about a few things that came out of this trip that I had there. The first one was the choice that we made of how we reacted to what happened when we got to our hotel and found that the door was locked. We had left a voicemail to the reception because they closed at 2 p.m. Italian time, and I hadn't managed to get hold of them. We were outside with our hand luggage and we had no code to get in, and the prospect in the dark of not being able to get into our room. I called Kath, who had organised most of the journey for us. We'd come over from the airport via train, and it was a real problem that we had. And the first choice that I had to make was how I reacted to this huge problem. Literally, we had nowhere to stay for that evening and no way of speaking to anybody to get it resolved, seemingly. So I was messaging Kath. I rang the guy who owned the hotel, and by reacting to it and choosing to react to it in a let's get this solved way, within 30 minutes, 45 minutes, we were inside the hotel, we were in our room, and we were then deciding where to go for our evening meal. So following on from my theme for the month of scale and choice, the first thing we can do on choice is to actually choose how we react to the good things that happen, but also the catastrophes that happen. Okay. The next thing, we had 2 days there. So we had Saturday and Sunday there. And what I chose to do was to get as much into those 2 days as we could. So we have seen some amazing things that you'll see appearing on the screen now. We went to see Michelangelo's David. We went to the cathedral. We did so much in just 2 days, and we walked and walked and walked, as the blisters on Angela's feet will attest to. So we decided, or I decided, and probably more importantly I decided, to get things off of my bucket list that I wanted to do whilst I was in Florence. So that's the second thing that I chose to do. And then the third thing was we had to choose how to cope with a national train strike. So we'd gone over to Italy, we'd flown into Pisa, and then we got the public train to Florence, which is where we were staying. And we were going to stay there for 3 days because we're not coming back till late on 10 p.m. On Monday evening. But then we find out there's a national train strike, and we're likely not to be able to get a direct transportation from Florence into Pisa. So the difficulty we had to think about was, do we get the train and go into Pisa early and have the day there, which is what we did, or did we get a shuttle bus that didn't take us into the city but took us direct to the airport? And then we had to think about, okay, if we ran late, if we ran over, what would we do? And then we stay all day in Florence. So we stay all day in Florence and get the shuttle bus direct to the airport later, or we get a train before all the chaos ensues, perhaps cope with some delays and go to Pisa and spend the day in Pisa, which is near to where the airport was. And that's the way we decided to go. And we did that because I've always wanted to see that leaning tower that you saw right at the beginning of this video. The other thing you'll notice as well, as we're walking round, there is an image appearing on screen now of a very subtle, probably the subtlest golden arches of McDonald's that I've ever seen, in a very historic place on a building that's probably 500-600 years old, with the golden arches on, and there's a McDonald's right outside the leaning tower. But very subtle, very clever branding, and I think that just shows the power that a good brand fits anywhere, whether it's something that's really authentic and is true to your brand, true to your colours, true to the big voice of your brand, or whether it's something that's more complementary to the situation that it's in. So we had a choice to make. We chose, I think, the right choice. So we got to spend a whole day in Pisa. We got to relax. We got to get to the airport in plenty of time, although that's probably a topic for a different Monday's moment altogether. But we made it back. As you can see, I'm back in my office. All things were good and some amazing results from the trip away. But I just wanted to, one, show you a little bit of where I've been, but also explain how the way we work through our lives and through our businesses is all about the choice that we make. So I could have decided to take it steady. I could have decided to just do a handful of things while we were away. I didn't want to spend longer there, so I didn't want to grow the period of time that we were in Italy. So I decided to scale and get as much out of the time that we had there. And that's what I did. And that's the theme of this month: scale and choice. So I chose to do what I did. I chose to scale, and I chose to squeeze as much out of the time that I was happy and willing to put into it. And we had an amazing, amazing time. So that's the topic of today's Monday's Moment video. I trust that's giving you something to think about and perhaps somewhere to think about for your next trip away as well. The final thing I would say to you, if you want to talk about the way that you can make different choices, the way that you can work and scale your life, your business, the things that you're doing at the moment, whether it's a project, whether it's an entire business, whether it's your coaching practice, whatever it is, just go to timewithsimon.com. You've seen the link go across the screen many, many times before, timewithsimon.com. And as always, like, share, and spread the message of what we're talking about here in this video with as many people as you can. And let me have some comments if you've been to Florence or you've been to other places in Italy, and perhaps some of the choices that you made whilst on your travels. As always, I'll see you on the next week's Monday's Moment, or I'll perhaps see you on one of the posts during the week ahead. Bye for now.